Hi guys, my name's Bernie. I thought I'd talk about what spirituality means, and so I'm going to talk about the fellowship of the spirit and what spirituality means to me. Um, and sometimes we can get a little bit confused about spirituality, and it's not really that difficult, really. And sometimes some people don't even like the word spirituality, but at the end of the day, we are of spirit, all of us, and we're all equal. And that's what spirituality means to me, that we're all equal in the fellowship of Alcoholics Anonymous. We're all equal as human beings on this planet, and we're all equal beyond that as well. So spirituality is just you at the end of the day. There really is no other easier way to explain spirituality. And there is no one way of living spirituality. It's kind of an individual adventure for all of us. So sometimes we see spirituality in different ways. And there's many spiritual teachers. There's many people who talk about spirituality and what it means to them. But for me, it just means that I'm equal to you and I'm part of you. We're all kind of equal in one way. And the spiritual collectiveness of sometimes the rooms is enough to keep people like me, when I first came in fit spiritual condition. I felt really safe because I could feel the spiritual vibes and the energy of other people. And I found that really comforting in some respects. One of our co-founders, a guy called Bill W., once stated that, our best work is done with our feet firmly on the ground rather than our heads in the clouds and living in spiritual make-believe. So I certainly haven't seen anybody, or I wouldn't want to be like anybody that wants to wear a gold fleece coat and two purple doves under their arms coming into the fellowship. That's not really what spirituality is about. And I often say this: you cannot teach spirituality. You can only experience it. And when we talk about spiritual teachers, all they're doing is sharing their experience on their spirituality. And if you want to know about spirituality, then all you have to do is go to rooms of, ex drinkers or other fellowships, and you will hear people, and the people talk about spirituality, and they're just talking about themselves really at the end of the day. You cannot define spirituality in one particular thing. Some people say it's a connection. Well, it is in some respects. We're either connected to one another or we're connected to some higher power, something greater than ourselves. So I never wanted to become spiritual. And really I became spiritual in the rooms of the fellowship by default, because that spiritual energy from other people just rubbed off on me. So, like I said, there's no one way of living a spiritual life, and I think we're just spirits having a human existence. We're all brothers and sisters. We're all spirits, and and the program allows us to be spiritual. But for me, spirituality I see in other people, because often they say, "Oh, that person is more spiritual than I am." Well, they're not really, because nobody can be more spiritual than another person, because, like I said, we're all spirits and we're all equal. I think what they mean is they feel more comfortable in the skin, or they may be more serene, or feel a little bit more comfortable, or they're connected a little bit more than some of us. And I think the spirituality grows through prayer and meditation. I think it grows naturally as we mature in the program of Alcoholics Anonymous, or any other program, really. So we're born spirits, really. It's just that I think we're all spirits, but I think for alcoholics, we just knocked on the wrong address, really, and we kind of get put back on that path, and there's some great spiritual people that go back many years, and even today now, there was a guy called Carl Jung. He was probably very, very spiritual, and somebody asked him, "Do you believe in God?" And he said, "Well, I don't believe, I know." And he had that kind of spiritual awareness that he saw things and he was aware of what a power greater than themselves could achieve, And for him, he tried to help some guy called Roland Hazard from Rhode Island back in 1920s, the late 1920s, and the most powerful psychiatrist at the time in Zurich, in Austria, couldn't help him. He just could not help him. But he did know and did say to him, go and seek a spiritual experience. And he ended up in the Oxford group, which was a Christian form of religion, called the Oxford group, as I just said. And he had what was known as a conversion. We call it a spiritual awakening today, or a spiritual experience, or a psychic change. Something changes in us because we've kind of connected through the process of these steps. And the process of the steps really is to get us to reach something more powerful than ourselves, a power greater than ourselves. But on that journey, we awaken and something changes in us spiritually. We feel a little bit more different. Our awareness changes. Our perception changes. It's no longer a disease of perception. And reality starts to kick in. But something there deep down inside us knows that